All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another one. Welcome back to the TD Markets trading room on a Tuesday afternoon. The time now is 3 minutes after 2. I thank you guys for joining us. I hope everything is well on your end. Welcome back everyone. We do this every Tuesdays and every Thursdays at 2 p.m. So if you're joining us for the first time, please do subscribe to the channel as we provide this content for you guys every week. All right, so remember, every Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. So do join us this coming Thursday as well. We also have the Friday crypto decrypted session, right? For all the crypto enthusiasts, for all the crypto lovers out there, don't worry, we are with you. All right, we do have a session specifically designed for crypto. That is our TDME crypto decrypted session every Fridays at 2 p.m. You can also get the education sessions that we provide for you on a weekly basis, Mondays to Fridays. The link is on the chat. The details will be on the chat shortly. But yeah, so this is what we have for you guys. So don't forget the Friday session. And this one is, of course, the Tuesday and the Thursday session, right? Happy to be back, excited to be back, and I hope you guys are excited for the session as the markets have been moving. Everything we spoke about, in fact, 90% of what we spoke about the last time has moved, is moving, and I hope you guys have kept your eyes on that dollar weakness. We spoke about dollar weakness. We're going to look at what the charts are doing. We're going to look at the DXY as well, right? So before we get on, or before you look at the charts, remember guys, you can go to our website. To open an account, you can go to our website, that is tdmarkets.com. Click under account types, and then you will see the different account types that we provide, right? Or that we have that you can open. All right, so the different account types. We also provide education, our TDM Academy. You can have a look at the website, that is tdmarketsacademy.com. We're still going to have more for you guys, but you can have a look at that. So all you need is an account to start attending our education sessions. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, let's get the session started. All right. Let's get the session started. A lot has happened in the last week. I hope you guys kept your eyes on that dollar weakness we spoke about. All right. So the markets have been moving. This week is one of the important weeks in the markets. All right. It is one of the important weeks in the markets because the US Fed will announce their interest rates. So let's just have a look at the calendar. The US Fed is going to announce the interest rates tomorrow. The Bank of Canada is also announcing interest rates tomorrow, right? And then next week, we've got the ECB that's going to do the same thing. So the markets are keeping an eye on the Fed, on the US Fed, all right? That is tomorrow at 9 p.m. That is the announcement. And then at 9:30 South African time, that's when the conference will begin. All right. So we're going to talk a little bit about the interest rate, what happened in the past, three, rate cuts or announcements. And then we're going to talk about what to anticipate moving forward, right? The dollar is weak at the moment. So that is, I think, what you guys cannot wait for. All right. So where do we start? Should we start with the interest rates? Should we talk a little bit about the interest rates? Where should we start? You guys let me know. And also, if there's any pairs you guys want us to talk about, you can type them on the chat. All right. We've got the DXY. We're going to start with the DXY. And yeah, right. If there's anything that you guys want me to analyze, you can drop it on the chat. All right. So I think let's start with this one. Let's start with interest rates. Let's start with the US interest rates. All right. Now, what do we know? What do we know? This is what we know, guys. All right. So for the previous 3 interest rate cuts, you guys will remember, I think it was in September. September, there was a cut, and then September, October, November, December. So I think it was in September, October, but let's have a look at the calendar. So I think it was September, it was October, and then there was one in December as well. All right, where the Fed cut interest rates. So what do we know? We know that the dollar weakened, right? Generally, the dollar weakens or the currency weakens, but it depends on various factors. So speaking on the dollar has weakened in the past 3 Fed cuts, even way before those Fed cuts, right? The dollar has weakened, and this is what happens generally. So now the DXY went down and so forth and so on. So the stance at the moment, right? The Fed is prioritizing fighting inflation, right? So there are terms that you will hear analysts or even the Fed chair speaks about or talks about, which is being hawkish or being dovish, right? Just to give you guys a simple breakdown of what hawkish and dovish is. So these are the terms used, right? Just to describe the attitude or the stance of the policymakers. So when the central bank is hawkish, right? They prioritize fighting inflation, right? And keeping prices stable. So that's what they prioritize. As such, they raise interest rates to cool the economy. So whenever they fight inflation, they raise interest rates, right? Now, when they are dovish, they then promote economic growth and employment, right? To avoid recession, right? And avoiding recession. So then when it comes to interest rates, they lower interest rates, right? And this is obviously to stimulate borrowing, spending, and so forth and so on, right? So at the moment, the Fed is fighting inflation. Inflation is still way above the target of 2%. I think it's at 2.7% at the moment, right? And now, you guys will remember it went down from 9.1. It has been going down, down, down. In that process, the Fed has been hawkish and fighting inflation by raising interest rates, right? That's what's been happening. So now inflation has gone lower to 2.7. There was a time where I think it was on 2.4%, and it has slightly picked up, right? So they're still fighting inflation, and I think they are done with raising interest rates. Now they are focusing on cutting interest rates, right? Cutting interest rates, and obviously a few pauses in between because, like the Fed chair says, right, they are data dependent. I think you guys have heard that before. They are data dependent, all right? So we can say that there's a bit of hawkishness within the Fed, and there's a bit of dovishness within the Fed, right? Although markets are describing them as being dovish, but they are prioritizing lowering interest rates. That's why the markets it makes sense for the market to describe their stance as dovish, all right? So that is basically to break down what hawkish and dovish stances mean. So at the moment, the Fed is prioritizing cutting interest rates, and obviously in the past, in the previous cuts, the dollar has taken a knock. The dollar took a knock, right? So we're seeing right now, looking at the DXY, I'm going to do a breakdown of this chart, but the dollar is weak at the moment. That's why gold has been flying, right? That's why the commodities have been flying. So the interest rates right now, where are they? I think they're 3.7%. 3.7%. Let's see. 3.75%. That's where the US interest rates is. Now, the prediction or the projection, right? The projection is that the Fed are looking to maintain the rates around 3.5 to 3.75, right? That is the general, what I would say, projection, right? They are looking to at least up until March, maybe, right? Or April, they're looking just to have the rates around 3.75 to 3.5. We'll see. Anything can happen in between, but this is what we know at the moment. And should we get another rate cut tomorrow, then we will anticipate the dollar to continue weakening, right? That's what we're anticipating. So we spoke about the dollar weakness before, right? And I think this is going to accelerate that even further, right? So from an interest rate point of view, this is what we have so far. We'll talk more about this on Thursday to see where the rates are. And then we'll have just the 5 minutes of the talk, and then we'll get on to the charts, right? So starting with the DXY, all right? Starting with the DXY, before we go to the gold, I can see on the chat right now, there is gold, there's AUD, USD, AUD, JPY. We'll have a look at those, right? So let's start with the DXY. So I'm using our MT4 platform for the DXY. So look, this structure is very simple, guys, right? I'm looking at the weekly time frame. I'm using the weekly to determine the bias, right? I'm using the weekly to determine the bias. Now, from a structure point of view, this thing is very simple, right? We are trading within the bearish structure or bearish market structure. And I want to point out this because this is going to be important. This lower high, right? Followed by another lower high. So these lower highs here, this is where we are getting the story from. So the market failed to continue pushing up, breaking the previous highs, hence creating a lower high, and the impulse waves have been towards the downside. So look at where price is at the moment, right? From that lower high, price went back to this low. According to structure, price went back to that low. You guys will notice there was a 61.8% retracement. So if you take your Fibonacci, you will notice that there was a 61.8 rejection and price aggressively went back down to that low. All right. So now where are we going from here? So we are still within the bigger structure, and this is the bigger structure. The bigger structure indicates that the momentum is bearish at the moment. This is the bigger structure, like this. All right. We can see this lower high. We can see the previous lower low. So we have confirmed this lower high. Where are we going now? We are coming back to this lower low, right? Just a simple structure breakdown. All right. So yeah, so hence we are seeing a weaker dollar at the moment because structurally the DXY suggests that we are going down, right? The dollar is weak. So that is from the DXY. All right. That's why we are seeing gold pushing up, commodities pushing up, and the other dollar pairs. So from here, there might be since the market broke this zone, there might be a correction and a continuation down, right? This is always a possibility. We could get a new low, internal lower low, and then get an internal lower high, and then price comes back to this lower low here. So we want this correction, right? But if not, then we gonna see price just continue melting all the way back to this zone there. All right. So yeah, so this is around 95.7. Yeah, 95.7, right? That's where the previous low is. So yeah, so we're anticipating the DXY to go all the way down there. That's why you see NZD USD going up. That's why you see Euro USD going up. But before I get to those, let me get to your charts. All right. So let's see. We've got gold, euro. Oh, you want gold? Okay, I think let's start with gold, right? It doesn't matter whether it's gold, euro, gold, dollar. We're gonna see the same movements regardless. All right. So this is what gold is doing. Now I'm gonna look at the daily structure and go down to the 1 hour structure, since on the daily time frame and the weekly time frame, price is super aggressive. So on the daily, of course, like I said, price is aggressive. It hit 5,000. We are looking at 5.2, 5,200 as our next target. But now the structure we are focusing on now is the 1 hour structure, right? At least from the zone. Let me just do this. I'm going to draw a line here. Right. From that zone, that was the previous cycle, right? From that zone, we are looking at a bullish gold, all right? So all you need to do, or not all you need to do, but what you would want to look for here is moments where price creates corrections, right? And these corrections, that's where now we're going to start getting our impulses. This was the previous time the market, or the other time the market formed the correction. And then obviously you had smaller ones in between. The last time we spoke about gold, if you guys remember, we said that there's a possibility gold will come back and tap this zone before it goes up, right? There was a tiny correction. Then price broke out, right? So these are the things you would want price to give you, these corrections, so that you can catch these impulses, right? You can catch these aggressive or explosive movements, these impulses. So now where gold is right now, there is no setup, right? I don't think there is a proper setup because the correction was done. Price broke out. So this market is about to complete this cycle. It is about to complete the cycle. So I don't think towards the upside, I don't think there is a proper proper setup unless price gives us a correction here or a correction above this. So you see where it is at the moment, right? There are two possibilities. It can go up, bounce, go down, or break towards the upside. So I would love for gold, if it will do this, I would love for gold to come back down to this low again, right? I'm not sure if it's going to do that. According to what we see right now, it might not do that, but I would love for gold to come back down to this low again, so that I look for this. Where it is right now, it's already high, right? I think this is the low where it will give you a proper risk to reward ratio, right? So this is what I would love for gold to do. If it doesn't do this, then it's most likely going to complete the current cycle by going back to that high, right? So we're most likely going to see something like this, the market completing this wave, going back to that high, and then from that high, dollar weakness, of course, will drive this further, right? But from a pure technical standpoint or point of view, this is where now we want to see if price will give us this possibility and this again, right? One more dip, come back down here, and then from there we continue the run. We continue the bullish. I hope this makes sense. All right. So yeah, so where it is right now, yeah, it's likely going to complete this wave by going back there. And then from there, we're going to look at the interest rates, and we're anticipating, of course, further upside on gold. This is also with silver, right? I'm not going to go to silver, but silver, pretty much the same thing. All right. In terms of price reaction. So that is gold. That is how gold is looking, guys. All right. That is how gold is looking. If you look at the gold euro, it's just going to be the same thing, right? So this is the gold euro at the moment. If you go back to the lower time frame, you see how similar these price reactions are. So this current wave that's going up, according to the cycle, right, and the structure, we're anticipating this to go back to that top, to go back to this top, all right? So now, just like the gold dollar, there's a possibility that price might come back down here again and take people out, right? Because I can imagine people that took buys here, most of the stop losses could be down here unless they've managed their stop losses, right? But could be down. So we could get this as a possibility, price coming back down here. And then from there, I would anticipate price to go up, or price can still go up from there. You see that? So I would want price to first come back down here before it does this. But if it goes up from here, then it needs to complete this first. It needs to complete that first. All right. So yeah, so that is how the gold euro and the gold dollar is looking at the moment. And then we've got AUD USD. My goodness, AUD USD was probably one of the best last week, one of the best pairs last week, right? Because it did its own thing. It flew. It went extremely towards the upside. So I think the previous setup we spoke about on AUD USD was this one, the previous setup we spoke about. And then we said AUD USD, once it breaks out, is gonna continue pushing towards the upside. So the breakout was about 230 pips, the breakout, right? So AUD USD alongside gold, these were the best pairs for one of the best pairs for last week, right? So what do we have now? Now with price action like this, I'm gonna go back to the weekly and look at the weekly structure, right? Now this is the weekly structure. I want to show you guys something. So price came back to this low, right? Price came back to this low, and then it spiked that low. Look at how aggressive the market reacted. It spiked that low and came back up again, right? So now this is a popular formation that we know in technical analysis, right? Some of you guys might know this formation. So with a formation like this, where we have this low and that low, right? It doesn't matter whether it's a spike or a perfect rejection, doesn't matter. When we have a scenario like this, you will often see price going back to the top and giving us two tops. So here we've got two lows, right? So you'll often see price doing the same thing at the top, where it's going to give us the two tops. So with the current movement we see right now, then the focus would be to continue this trend to go back to that high. So the current bullish trend to continue it and go back to that high there. Once price reaches this high, then our setup is complete, it's done. Whatever happens on that high, right, we will see, because there are two possibilities. From that high, there's a possibility price can continue pushing up. Another possibility is price can go down, right? But notice where we see this possibility. We are seeing this possibility on the zone, not just anywhere else, just on that zone. That is the way we've seen this possibility. So from here on, the focus would just be to continue trading this trend, this current bullish trend, all right? And I can see that it is approaching this low. Sorry, not the low, but it's approaching this high there. It's approaching that high. So just be careful. Anybody looking for more upside, just be careful of that high, right? That high can cause a problem. It can do anything, but long term we are not long term. Overall we are bullish, but just be careful of that high, right? And obviously the corrections we are gonna get are just gonna be continuations, right? So we get a correction, we are looking for a continuation up. Another correction, a continuation up, right? Yeah, so AUD USD, look, NZD USD, the same thing. They are bullish, right? So yeah, so it seems like we are going back to that high there. So just be careful of this zone, but we're going back to that high. Great stuff. And then the next one, let me look at the chat. I hope you guys are enjoying the session so far, right? Mondays, not Mondays, but Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. This is where we look at the charts, give you guys our point of view. And I mean, you guys can refer back to the previous ones, right? I don't doubt our analysis. My analysis, Ashley's analysis, I don't doubt it. You guys can go back and just verify, all right? So the next one here is GBP JPY, AUD JPY. Now, I'm not looking at GBP JPY, right? Instead, I'm looking at AUD JPY, but we will go over GBP JPY. Let me start with AUD JPY. Nothing has changed on this one, guys. We spoke about AUD JPY. Nothing has changed. We are looking at the scenario where AUD JPY is about to complete its current wave, right? So this wave here, this wave is an impulse wave, right? I believe that you guys know that it's an impulse wave. So for the impulse wave to complete, the market generally goes back to either the previous higher high or the previous lower low. So look at where the market is right now. It has not fully tapped that higher high there. So as such, our focus would be being bullish on AUD JPY until it taps that high, right? Hope it makes sense. So the current trend is bullish. Don't be guys, look, don't be fooled by such reactions. You see, look at this. Look at how aggressive this reaction is. Don't be fooled by this. Don't be fooled by that, right? I mean, the same thing happened with gold. There was a time where gold went down aggressively, and I saw people thinking it's now reversing. It was, if I remember correctly, yeah, it was here, right? You see how aggressive this move is. Now, obviously, you can capitalize on this move on the lower time frames, but don't think for a second that that move is reversing the entire thing. It might just be a short-term reversal, not the entire thing. All right. So AUD JPY is doing the same thing. So just be careful. Just be careful with that price action, right? So with this one, I'm still bullish. The market is correcting, waiting for the correction to complete and continue the move towards the upside. All right. So this correction, the way it is aggressively pushing down, right? So at the moment, it's a little bit tricky to just try and see the pattern itself. But wherever the pattern will complete, or wherever the correction will complete, I would want price to break back above this area, right? I would want price to break back above this area. So wherever, so let's say it's gonna turn from here and then goes up, I would want it to break this zone first, just to align the structures together, right? The bigger structure and the lower structure. So yeah, so obviously you will apply your own techniques and so forth and so on, but this is what we're looking for. Short term, this offers you a short-term sell opportunities or short-term selling opportunities, all right? Because short-term, we can see that price is creating these continuation patterns, right? So these can be seen as short-term sell opportunities. Yeah, short-term sell opportunities. So yeah, so once this is done, we just need price to break out. Right? I think there's a lot of potential towards the upside than it is to the downside. Yeah, so I don't know which time frames you guys trade, but this can still give you guys short-term sell opportunities. But at the same time, you must be aware of the continuation of the bigger trend. All right, so that is AUDJPY. And GBPJPY, I'm not looking at that one because it's not giving me a solid setup, right? It's not giving me a solid setup. So I'm just watching it, just noting the movements there and there. But yeah, let's see what's happening. So it came back to this low, right? It rejected that top, came back to this low. In terms of this formation here, there is no setup in terms of this formation, right? Meaning where the market is right now, because of this low, right? Because of this low, we've got this possibility as well as this possibility, right? Because of that low. You see on this high, what happened here, guys? When the market got to this high, there was a possibility the market was going to go up or was going to go down. But look at where these possibilities are, right? They just not anywhere. They are on these highs and lows. So that's what I'm saying, it's not giving me a solid setup, right? Because of this possibility. However, the general trend is bullish, right? That one is still bullish. So whenever this correction completes, we're still going to continue pushing towards the upside. So that is, but short term, we are dealing with this price action here. So yeah, so this is what's happening right now. So just wait for price to tell you. It's trying to reject at the moment, but at the same time, looks like it's going down aggressively, right? So I wouldn't do anything on this one. I would rather focus on AUDJPY than GBPJPY, right? I would rather look at AUDJPY than GBPJPY in terms of the setup and the setups I usually look for, right? But yeah, so this is how GJ and AJ are looking. The next one, we've got GBP Swiss. GBP Swiss is moving according to the analysis we did. It's moving. Remember, we spoke about this FIP area, this 61.8, 50 FIP area. And then I told you guys that we're looking for a rejection around the zone for price to go down, right? It has done that. It is moving down. If you go to the daily, this is what's happening at the moment, right? So we're going to take this piece by piece. Overall, we're anticipating this to lead us back down to this low or even this low. This is what we're looking for, all right? So it is already going down. So what you'd want is just for price to continue moving down, to give you a downward structure. So at the moment, we do have a downward structure, right? That's our downward structure. So keep an eye on this. Wait for price to break out of this, right? If you're already in a position, manage it. If not, wait for price to break out of this, because there is the low that it is already causing a problem. Look at that. We've got multiple bounces. There's a bit of a problem there. But if we can get a break below that, if we can get a clear below the zone, then we are looking for price to go down. You see that? We're looking for price to go down. Yeah. So should there be any changes, we'll talk about those changes if they're going to be there. But from where the market is, we just need a break and a continuation towards the downside. All right. So that is GBP JPY. On the weekly time frame, you will notice that we have this pin bar, this shooting star candle that has formed, and the market is trying to create another one, because it's a weekly candle. Today is a Tuesday, so it's trying to do the same thing, which is good. If we're looking for this push, it's good. All right. So GBP Swiss, this is what we're seeing, guys, right? Update of the previous session. All right, there we go. So that is GBP Swiss. We've already gone over gold. We've already spoken about gold. Nasdaq, there we go. So Nasdaq is still bullish. Nasdaq is now preparing to go up, right? We've been bullish on Nasdaq. We've done updates on Nasdaq, and when Nasdaq was going down here, right? So these were just trading or buying opportunities, right? Because these were corrections. So these were buying opportunities. So every time it would go down, you would try to look for this. All right. So the bigger structure and the bigger cycle that we spoke about the last time is still intact. So which means the momentum is still bullish, right? If you go to the weekly, you can see what's happening on the weekly. So from here on now, obviously the market is going up. So it seems like now it's going to break this zone, right? Seems like now it's going to break this zone. So yeah, a break above this zone, we're anticipating more upside on this, right? This could offer us, a trading opportunity, right? It could break, retest, and then do this. That is what we want, a break and a retest of this and a continuation towards the upside. So yeah, so Nasdaq is about to complete this wave. Let me just do this. Yeah, it's about to complete this wave towards the upside. All right. So that is how Nasdaq is looking. Also, I think is S&P 500. If you look at S&P 500, right? S&P 500 where it is right now, it's not done, right? So this current move towards the upside is not done. It's not complete. I mean, there was a trading opportunity here. So this move is not done. It's going back to that high. So there could be another opportunity for one more push up. So this one, it is not done, right? So I'm not sure US 30. Let me have a look at US 30. I'm not sure about that one. Yeah, US 30 has just been sideways, right? It's just been sideways. So this one, it has already gone back to that high. You see that? It has already gone back to that high. So yeah, so this one might not give us the best opportunity compared to S&P 500 as well as Nasdaq, right? What you guys need to understand, let me just pause here a little bit. So the reason I'm mentioning not the good opportunity, so you might see an opportunity on the charts, right? But according to the rules and the guidelines you are using, it might not be the best in terms of meeting all the rules. So my point here is when you work on your setups and then you try to master your setups, you will start noticing that there are some setups which might not be the A setups or the higher probability setups. And then there are those setups which might be A setups, right? I like to call it A setups, which are higher probability setups, right? So you might see the market doing the same thing. I mean, if you look at US 30 and then you look at S&P 500, same formation that is forming, but setup might be the same, but the probabilities might not. So let me go back to S&P 500, right? I want to show you something. So with this one, if we can get a correction, right, then that correction to me is going to be my A setup, meaning a setup that gives me a higher probability of the market going in my direction and possibly hitting my take profit, right? But now look at how this is similar. The formation, price action is similar to US 30, but US 30. So but US 30 is not going to give me that A setup. Even if the formation and the price action is the same, but the setup I would get here might not be a higher probability setup. You see that? So this is something that you're going to learn as you continue learning your setups, that there are those setups that should they form, you trust them, right? And then there are those ones where it's a 50-50, it might do this, that's where you tend to go with the lower lot size. And then the A setups, that's when you try to go a little bit bigger just to capitalize on those, right? So yeah, so US 30, for me personally, there's nothing here. There's nothing here. We just have to wait and see. I would focus on NASDAQ. That is the one I would focus on, NASDAQ, because it's clear. It's clear. It's going back to that high. All right. So yeah, so in terms of NASDAQ, there we go. German 30, it's been a while. It's been a while since I spoke about German 30, but let's see what's happening here. All right, so let me just do a quick analysis here to see if we get. All right, I don't think German 30, the current price action on German 30, I don't think it's a complicated one, all right? Because first of all, we are in a bullish structure and price was consolidating here. So look at how price broke out of the consolidation, right? And what is the natural reaction of price? It's a break, retest, and a continuation up. So there was a consolidation, price broke above it. Now it's coming back for a retest, all right? So we are looking at the retest being anywhere around this blue line. But now, not the line, but the square, right? But now, you would not want, if you're looking for buys, you wouldn't want price to go all the way down if you're looking for buys, right? So this is what you wouldn't want price to do, because it might change your setup slightly, right? But what you would want is for price not to go all the way down there, and at least to react from this area. By reaction, I'm talking about retesting the zone. That's at least what you would want price to do. But around the zone, you wouldn't want that. So German 30 is still bullish, trading within a bullish structure. There is a correction that's forming. Just be careful. This correction might turn into a flag like this. Before it does that, right? It might give us something like this. It's always a possibility. If not, then this should continue pushing up from there, right? Unless it tries to come back down one more time, right? Unless it tries to go back down one more time, which is going to come back down to this low, maybe give us a new low before it does this, right? There's always a possibility that price is going to do this, right? Going back down one more time, going up one more time. So yeah, so either it's going to go up from here or try to come back down to this low and then go up. But it's bullish. So that is German 30. That is German 30. All right. Great stuff. Great stuff. Great stuff. So, all right, I think I've covered the pairs on the chat. So let's go over some dollar. Let's see. Euro USD. Euro USD, my goodness, I hope you guys capitalized on this. I hope you guys, we spoke about this move before, right? We spoke about this move. Hope you guys saw it. Hope you guys went in, and Euro USD is done. So this impulse is complete. It's done. There's nothing for us to do here, because the possibilities here is this or this, right? So there's nothing for us to do here. We just need to wait for it to tell us what it's trying to do. You look at, is it USD CAD, USD Swiss? You look at USD Swiss. USD Swiss, it broke this previous low, right? Although I see USD Swiss trying to retest this zone, right? Yeah, I see USD Swiss trying to retest this zone before going down. But yeah, this one fell, and it's still pushing to the downside. So there's nothing for us here unless we get a correction and one more push down. All right. But now I would focus on USD CAD. So I would leave out Euro USD. I would leave out USD Swiss. I would focus on USD CAD. Why? Because USD CAD is completing this formation. It's completing. So this formation is not done, right? Because we have a lower high here. So this impulse is going back to the low, to this lower low. So I would focus on this there, right? NZD Swiss has already gone, right? Has already gone down. So there's nothing much for us to do here. But USD CAD looking for a continuation down. Now remember, tomorrow the Bank of Canada is going to announce their interest rates. So anybody looking at USD CAD, just be aware of the Bank of Canada announcing interest rates. All right. Bless. And then GBP USD, my goodness. Look, GBP USD is going back to that high. Is going back to this high, right? We spoke about this move up. Is going back to that high, right? So yeah, so we're gonna complete this by going back to that high. That is GBP USD, right? USD JPY, there was an aggressive reaction from this area. Let me just remove this, right? So the market reacted aggressively from that high. We spoke about this high, but then I said we need a break above that high for us to go all the way up. But look at this reaction, right? I think the market is pricing in a rate cut. I'm thinking right now the market is already pricing in the rate cut because the market reacts to rumors as well. So whenever there's rumors, the market reacts, right? So obviously there are rumors that we're going to get a rate cut or whatever the case is. So the market is pricing that in. So if I was looking at USD JPY right now, I would look at this zone here. Yeah, it's this. I would look at this zone, right? This was the previous resistance turned into support. And any further downside on this, I would anticipate it to go back to the support. So resistance turn into support. It's like a break retest. You see that? It's like a break retest. So any downward movement, I would anticipate it to come back down here. So which means I would be bearish. I would be bearish on this one. You know, there's been a couple of opportunities actually. There was an opportunity. I think we spoke about this opportunity to the downside. And then later on, there was also this one, but I think you had to wait for this one. And now there was this one. There was this one as well. All right. So where is this going? My goodness. Where is this going? It's coming back down to this low. And then from there, we'll then see what's going to happen. But short term, one more push back down here. There could be a correction to go back to retest this. There could be that correction before we go down. It's a possibility. It might not happen, but price going down. That is what we're seeing at at the moment. And then you've got AUD USD. We spoke about it. Okay, so in terms of the dollar, we're looking at the weaker dollar. Weaker dollar. Interest rates expected to further weaken the dollar, right? And then I don't know, guys, what else? We covered all the pairs on the chat. Is there any other pair that you guys want us to have a look at? Let's see on the chat right now. We've already done gold, euro, gold, dollar, AUD USD, GBP JPY, AUD JPY, GBP Swiss, Nasdaq German 30. Let's look at oil, right? Let's look at oil. Cool. So oil is currently in a bullish structure, right? And this high on oil, right? Since we have a continuation, so we're anticipating oil to go back to 62.1. right, which is this high, 62.1. So this is just a continuation here, a continuation. So the market has already gone back to retest the previous structure, which was this. So now we're going back to that high. All right. Now, there's something else here which I'm going to highlight, right? There's something else which I'm going to highlight. Looking at how price is going up here, right? There's a possibility, because of this, there's a possibility that this can change into a correction like this, right? The way price is at the moment, there's a possibility that the market is going to do something like this, where it gives us, before it goes up, where it gives us one more push down, and then this again. Because of what? Because of this, right? I'm mentioning this because it is part of analyzing the behavior of the trend. So when you look at the trend, you need to also analyze how the trend is behaving, right? I think I spoke about this the last time, but let me break it down. You will notice that sometimes the trend is clean and sometimes the trend is ugly, right? Now, a clean trend would be a trend like this, right? This is what I would call a clean trend. But sometimes you will notice that the trend is doing something like this, right? Which might be a little bit ugly. But through understanding the behavior of the trend, you will notice that however the trend moves will give you a lot of clues how it moves, right? So if you see the trend, because we are targeting the impulse waves, So if a trend creates corrective waves, corrective patterns before it shoots up, then that means that is how the trend is behaving. So before the impulse forms, it creates a corrective pattern, and then go up. Corrective pattern and then go up. All right. But now, if you see the trend creating your simple retracement, then that means that is the behavior of the trend. So what we're seeing here with oil, we are seeing an example of trend behavior where previously we had this corrective pattern and then price went up. So hence I'm saying that there's a possibility that price will create the very same thing again before you get your move towards the upside, right? So something like this, where we could see one more push down just to complete the pattern and then boom, all the way up, right? So it could do this. It's a strong possibility it could do this. A very strong possibility it could do this. But whether it does this or not, we still remain bullish, right? In terms of a good risk and reward, this is where you're gonna get a good risk and reward, right? About maybe 1 to 12, 1 to 10, 1 to 12, depending on where your stop loss is. So that's a good one, right? So yeah, so keep an eye on something like this. An update on USD ZAR would be nice. South Africans have faith that we are heading for lower rand. Yeah, no, most definitely. Let's have a look at USD ZAR. Most definitely, it has performed. The rand has performed against the dollar. The rand has performed. We're hitting 15. My goodness, 15.98. Yo, no, look, 15 rand 98. No, look, this is great news. So for some of you guys who like to buy things online, who like to order sneakers online, hey, this should be good news to you. This should be good news. Good news to you, right? If you like online purchases, look, the rand is stronger. All right, so let's see now. From a tech point of view, this area was an important area, right? This area was a very important area, and this was 1627. All right, so now we've hit 1598. We have another strong area here. Right? And that is around, according to this chart, is around 1530. So 1530, right? So this 1530, there's a likelihood that we're going to see the rand to the dollar being 15 rand 30 cents. And I'm using pure structure, right? Let me show you this. I'm using just pure structure. Let's go to the line chart quickly. So on the line chart, I'm referring to this structure and these structures. So these were aggressive and strong structures in the past, right? The same as this one, right? You may say support and resistance, however you want to define it, however you understand it, but that's a very aggressive structure. So what happens is that price tends to go back to these structures, right? It tends to do that. Depending on what's happening, it tends to do that, right? So the next one is 1530. The next possible target, which we all love to see, is 14 Rand 50. The next one. So I think for now, let's focus on 1530. A continuation down to 1530. If price breaks 1530, then we know 1452 is another one. 1452 is another one. But if it breaks 1452, then look, it's going down. It's going down. It's going back down to the structure, which is my word, 13 bucks. Yeah, no, let me not do this. Let's first focus on this one. Yeah, I think I'm just ahead of myself now. Let's just focus on this one. Yeah, no, the USD ZAR is, look, the ZAR is strong now. So continuations towards the downside. Continuations towards the downside. Just in time for Valentine's. Hey, Tado, lucky you, my man. Tado, lucky you, my man. Seems like you've got plans. Lucky you, lucky you. No, we envy you, my man. NZD-JPY. We spoke about NZD-JPY. That is gonna go up. I even had this analysis. I never removed this analysis, right? We said this is going up. There, boom, it went up. We are getting an aggressive reaction from the zone, right? An aggressive reaction from the zone. Now, looking at the overall structure, right? At the moment, NZD-JPY is trading within an impulse wave. So this whole move here from this low, it's an impulse wave, right? Unless this thing changes into a corrective pattern. But as it is right now, it's an impulse wave. So the focus here would be trading this trend. That's it. Trading this trend. That would be the focus. That would be the focus. Trading this trend. That's it. That's it. So just like the AUD-JPY, be careful of these sharp corrections and thinking that this is changing the trend. Just be careful of this, right? I mean, just be careful of that. It's just a correction. It might look sharp, but it's just a correction. So the next stop here is this high. The next stop is this high, right? So wherever the correction will complete, the next stop is a continuation back to that high, right? So you will just apply your techniques. But yeah, so we are looking for a continuation up. All right, there we go. There we go. So, ladies and gentlemen, it has been a good session. We've just done updates. We've already spoken about the direction. We've just done updates. And you guys can see the market is moving in our direction, right? Hope you guys have capitalized on this. Tomorrow, interest rates announcement. Let's keep an eye on that. Let's see how the dollar will react. But it seems like that dollar weakness that we're seeing right now is pricing in the rumors of a Fed cut, right? Or even a Fed pause, right? Interest rates pause, either a cut or a pause. But the rumors, I think they are fueling this dollar weakness. So let's see what's going to happen. Keep an eye on the charts, and yeah, let's push. Let's push. On that note, I'm going to end it here, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Please subscribe, please like and share. We'll catch you guys on Thursday, the aftermath of the interest rates on Thursday, and let's see. But the direction we spoke about in this session, you'll see on Thursday, it's going to be the same. Right. That's it, guys. Have a good one. Enjoy the rest of the day. Good luck. Stay safe. I'll catch you guys back again on Thursday.